Hello, guys. Hello, 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 patrons. Yes. Yes, yes. Greetings. Crystal, hello. Yes, patrons. What's up, guys? How's everybody doing? It says we got 3 people watching. I hope we're waiting on a few more so we can all have this discussion about which pet cemetery is the superior one. It's a little bit early, so I'm going to give you guys a few minutes to jump on in. We'll start this at 4. As you can see, I got a board right here. We're going to tally up the score. 1989's Pet Cemetery, and then there's 2019's Pet Cemetery. Obviously, I know a lot of people are probably going to say off the top, the 2019, I mean, not 2019, the 1989 version is going to win, but we're going to debate that. I want to have a discussion because you know what? The 2019 version, as underwhelming as it is, it's not as bad as most people may think. Hello, Crystal, and I'm glad you're doing a lot better. I'm doing okay. Been just getting a lot of Instagram stuff posted and all that, but I'm very excited to be doing this live stream with the patrons for once. It's going to be a bit of a different one. Not as many people are going to be watching, but I'm hoping. I see 5 viewers right now. Guys, hit the like button if you want to see more content like this. And then at the end of this video, we're going to debate which films we should compare next. We should do a versus for next. And yeah, I'm wearing one of the worst hoodies ever, but it's tore up and everything, but oh well. Hello, Adam. Thank you for joining us. Hello, everybody. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We're going to get started here in about 5 minutes, and we're going to have a versus battle between the 1989 version of Pet Sematary and the 2019 version of Pet Sematary. Droopy is doing good. Hi to church. Yeah, I heard about Droopy. That's good. He's doing good. I'm glad to hear that. I saw a picture of you, too, earlier. I'm getting followed by a lot of people right now, and I'm very, very honestly, I'm pleased. I'm very thankful. How's everybody doing today? Everybody having a very retro day? Very kick-ass day. Glad we are doing this. Make sure you guys, if you guys can, go over to our fellow patrons and let them know, people on Patreon only, let them know that we are doing a live right now. So if you want to run over, try to get Saza and whoever else is a $5 patron and above, that we are doing a live stream right now. I'm hoping to get everybody in here for this live stream. We got 5 viewers right now, so that's quite a few of the patrons. Hello, guys. Thank you guys for joining. Really excited. We're going to be, of course, doing a versus battle between the original Pet Sematary and remake. And we're going to be comparing mostly the characters. They're going to have a lot of versus stuff with the characters. We're also going to be comparing directors and the story of each one of them. So this is very exciting. I hope we all have fun doing this. And if this is very successful and people really like what we did here, we're going to be doing more of these in the future. Slaughter that like button. Yeah, I think there's 12 patrons in total. So if you're unable to watch, that's fine. This will be on Patreon later for you guys to watch. But if you make it on now, please let me know you're here. Say hello. Don't be shy. I am drinking a banana smoothie right now. Banana and strawberry smoothie, homemade. Very good. So this is going to be interesting for sure. First, we're going to compare probably some of the... Glad to hear that, Adam. Yeah, glad to hear that. We have 3 likes now. Who else is watching? Which one of you guys is watching? Just don't be afraid to say hello if you guys are watching and you want to see, and if you guys want to chat with us. It's all good. We're going to be here in a few minutes doing our live, though, officially for the Pet Sematary versus round. Yay, Saza's here. I'm glad you can make it, Saza. She says, I'm alive. I'm happy to hear you are alive and well. I hope you're well. Yes. So the 1989 Pet Sematary versus the 2019 remake. And you might be surprised on some of the things I'm going to say throughout this versus, actually. I watched the interview reaction so many times. Crystal says, oh, that's so awesome of you. Yeah, that video is doing really good. It's been a little bit over a day now. And it's kicking some serious ass over there. All right, guys. So here in about 2 minutes, we're going to go ahead and jump on into the versus battle between Old Pet Sematary and New Pet Sematary. So happy to see you, beautiful. How are you today? Yes, how is everybody today? I hope everybody's having a good day today. Yes, mine's been pretty chill. It's been raining outside all day, so we can't go outside and do nothing. Great day for a versus battle. Fantastic day. 5 views. Awesome. All right, guys. And yes, I want you guys to be a part of the conversation, too. So after every discussion or every versus segment in this versus battle, I will let you guys have a chance to chat and talk and let me know your opinions. I'll give you my opinions, and then we're going to vote on it. And whoever outweighs the other one on a certain aspect of the movie, we're going to give it that point. And I will tally that point right underneath 1989 or 2019. So without further ado, guys, we're actually going to go ahead and get started with our versus battle. I hope you five are ready. You five are ready to do this with me. This is very exciting. So the first thing we are going to compare and verse and have go up against each other, nose to nose, head to head, however you want to put that, is going to be the characters of the movie. And we're going to start out with, I'm good today. How are you, my love? I'm glad you guys are having fun. Awesome, awesome, awesome. I'm going to exit out of that. All right, guys, here we go with the versus stuff. All right, so the first one we are going to have go toe-to-toe with right now is Victor PASCOW versus Victor PASCOW. And the first one from 1989 is played by Brad Greenquist, and the other one is played by Absa Ahmed. So we're going to go ahead and compare these two first. Victor PASCOW. Victor PASCOW, if you don't know, is the in the original film and the new film, he is a local, kind of like a local nobody who is hit by a truck and is brought to Lewis, who we'll get to later. He's brought to Lewis, our main character, and is asked, by that point he's almost dead, so there's really nothing he could do, but he tried his best to save him regardless of that. So Victor comes back to Lewis as a spirit to warn him about the Indian burial ground beyond the pet cemetery, to hopefully save him from a horrible demise. So here we go. We are going to go ahead and do a Victor PASCOW versus Victor PASCOW, and I'm going to go ahead and just say it right now, to be blunt. The original 1989 version is far superior than the remake, and I stand by that 100%. The remake, they don't really, everything I told you guys about how I felt about the remake, where underwhelming came into play. Underwhelming, the word I would use for the remake a lot. Underwhelming. This is a big example of what was so underwhelming about the remake. This character almost had nothing to do with the remake at all. He was there almost just to be there, He didn't have a real big influence in the movie whatsoever. Yeah, one of my favorite lines from Victor, yeah, the ground is sour. It's good to actually make a live stream. I've missed the past few of them. Damn YouTube notifications. I apologize for the new YouTube notification bullshit. I know. I had someone tell me that like 10 hours later they were notified after the live stream had happened. But, so I apologize for that. But Victor PASCOW, in my opinion, I want you guys to vote on this too. I would say the original is easily better. Like, by a landslide. He's actually a real character. You actually, not only are you creeped out by him, but he's not very, he's creepy, but he's not creepy in the sense that he's there for a good purpose. And you really get that feeling with the original one for the most part, by far more than the remake. So, in my opinion, Brad's version of Victor is just superior in almost every single way. Brad's Victor still gives me shivers, so impactful. Yeah, so I'm guessing you guys go ahead and give me your opinion, which Victor is your favorite, and we will go ahead and tally that up right now. Brad's performance was memorable as fuck. Yeah, that's exactly my point too. He was way more memorable in the original than he was in the remake, who was very botched over. Not the actor's fault at all. It was what he was given to work with, and he wasn't given to work with much. So I would probably just go ahead and say everybody's going to be voting on Brad's version of Victor and not Absa. I think's his name. Yeah, Absa. No one's gonna be, I don't think, voting for Absa. But if you do, that's okay. Definitely Brad. We got Adam for Brad. We got Saza for Brad, I'm guessing. And then I'm going to assume Crystal is probably going to be for Brad too. If anybody else is watching and they want to vote, now's your time to vote. Say Absa or Brad in the comments. For sure. I'm gonna vote for Brad. So I think that would be one tally mark for Brad. Brad's version of Victor PASCOW, who I just felt was way more memorable. All right, Brad is the final answer. So I think we got a winner for this, and I think Brad is going to be our winner. So I'm going to give the first one its tally mark. Okay, so as you can see, guys, I have tally marked Brad. We got Victor PASCOW, who won for the 1989 version. I don't blame you guys. that makes perfect fucking sense to me. Smirks Janet, yeah. So the 1989 version won the first point. I'm not surprised at all. That was a very easy one. Now we're going to go ahead and hop over to the next character. This one's going to be very interesting for sure to hear what people think. I already know who I'm going to be voting for on this one, but the next one up is ZELDA. ZELDA GOLDMAN from both the 1989 and the remake. The first one is played by Andrew Hubitzek, I would say is how you pronounce that. I'm not positive. And Alyssa Brooke Levine is the remake's version of ZELDA. So this is easily the scariest character in the entire film for me, the original one at least. ZELDA to me was just so unsettling, so creepy. Every time she popped up on screen was just everything about the character was just very, very, very creepy. And that I'm already gonna go ahead and say it again for Victor PASCOW. What was so underwhelming about the remakes versions of some of these characters that you love and that you're creeped out by were just how underwhelming they were given in the remake. Just like Victor PASCOW, ZELDA's not really talked about all that much. She's not really given that much screen time at all, almost like barely bar none. So, yeah, the original for me is going to be the winner of this one too. And it's not really fair. I mean, it's almost, I'm not saying the actress in the new one did a bad job or nothing. She didn't do bad at all. She did fine for what she was given. She was probably given more screen time, I think, than maybe even Victor, or maybe just as close to the screen time. But she was overly botched in the remake, and that's not the actress's fault again. But the original was just, even though she didn't have much screen time, for what scenes Andrew was given to utilize this character, he made perfect. He did everything perfect the way he could have. And maybe the fact that he's a guy under the makeup makes it even creepier, and the way that the woman, the person looks is just unsettling. I mean, he really knows how to work with the makeup and the practical effects with the character of ZELDA, and ZELDA is just horrifying in that original one. Just because the remake had back crackling and stuff doesn't make it creepy. It was the character, the personality, it was everything about ZELDA that made her creepy in the original. So yeah, I think it's quite obvious who would win this versus Battle 2. Andrew was just way more insanely creepy and unsettling to watch. Every time that character jumped on screen, you knew you were going to be unsettled. You knew you were going to have cold chills. So, oh no, the original was fucking nightmare. And yeah, Saz, I'm already assuming, is going to be voting on Andrew's version. I'm partial, I'm purist, but I admit I've seen the remake for far less times than the original. I was so young when the OG premiered. Oh yeah. Even if the actor in the remake had more time to shine, there's no way that she's outperforming Andrew. It's as simple as that. Yeah, no, it was hard. This is a hard one, So for me, I'm gonna give it to Andrew. I think his version of ZELDA was just creepy is beyond belief. Creepy is like a very big understatement. Absolutely, Adam. It stays with you. Yeah, that performance stays with you. So, guys, I'm gonna vote for Andrew. What are you guys gonna vote for? And we'll see who won this round of the versus battle. I'm already gonna assume everybody's gonna vote for Andrew. That's just, but I want to make positively sure that that's what you guys want. So, if you guys want Andrew to win, then just say Andrew for the win. Unsettling is the best word for the character. Yeah. Andrew for the win, right, guys? I think that was obvious. Andrew. Yep, there's two Andrews. One more Andrew, and we should be good. Yeah, Andrew. Okay, so put another tally next to 1989's Pet Sematary. There we go. So that's 2 for the 1989 version and none for the remake. So as you guys can see, 1989, 2019. 1989 so far is kicking the living shit out of the remake, which is not surprising at all. So we'll give it a few minutes and then go into the next segment, or the next versus character battle. The Legend of Zelda. It's rigged, I know. Hey, it's making perfect sense to me. The 1989 one, I have no doubt's gonna win this, but I just like to compare. And there's something I'm going to defend about the remake here in a few, so. All right, let's go ahead and dive into our third versus, which this one's going to be interesting. I'm not sure how people are going to take me, or we're just let's have a conversation. This one is church versus church for the 1989 and the 2019 remake. So, if you know me, I love Church of the Cat. I really do. I really fucking do. I named my cat after this cat, you know what I mean? So, I love the character of Church. But I'm gonna be blunt, and I'm gonna be honest when I say this. I prefer the 2019 version over the 1989 version of Church. And I got my reasons why. I'll tell you my reasons why, okay? Because I don't want you guys to think I'm just picking him just to pick him. No, I do. I like the look of the original one better, but I do like the remakes version of Church better than the 1989 version. I really do. And it's not even to put down the original. The original one's perfect, really is. But there's something about the 2019 version who was just... He was perfect. In every sense of the word. Like, if there's one thing the original one you'd almost say was like almost a cat with rabies, but there's something so clever and evil and very maniacal about the new one. It's so interesting. There's a scene in the 2019 remake where Lewis is actually about to put Church down behind everybody's backs because he brought him back with the Pet Sematary. He wants to put him down because there's something up with this cat and he knows it. So there's a scene where Lewis is about to put Church down and Church looks at him and starts purring like an innocent cat. That would not have happened in the original one. The original one would have been clawing the fuck out of him. You know what I mean? Like, this cat knew what it was doing. It was almost supernatural, in a sense. And I feel like the original one doesn't really feel all that supernatural besides knowing the fact that it came back from the dead. So, like, this one really was smart. He led Ellie to the middle of the road to be hit by the truck. I mean, there is something about this new version that was just so much more sinister than the original one, if this makes sense. The practical effects to enhance the original cat. I'll tell you, yeah, the original cat actor was awesome. Don't get me wrong; they're both great performances by these cats. But there's probably one or two more cats than just one. But the 2019 version looks more demonic in physical appearance. The 1989 version still looked fluffy to an extent, like slightly more alluring. Yeah. Yeah, and they were both very adorable cats. Cats are cats, but there's just something that really was so clever and so sneaky about this new one that I was like, this is one of the best aspects of this entire movie. This cat is very fucking clever. He's very evil, and he plays innocent, The original one as I said, comes off to me like it could have had rabies about how rude and crazy it was. So there's something about, I'm going to go ahead and say I'm going to vote for the 2019 version, but I want to hear what you guys have to say about the original and the remake version of Church. Both cats freaked me out. The practical effects to enhance the original, the 2019 version looks more demonic. Adam says, sorry, I fucking snorted, Crystal. Yeah. Much like Cujo. That's exactly right. That's exactly right. I thought of Cujo when I seen the original Church. Okay, so Adam voted for the 2019 version. I voted for the 2019 version, so we just need one more vote for the 2019 version, and majority rules over that. So, what do you guys vote for? Crystal and Sazo, who are you gonna root for in this battle between churches? And no, you can't say my church, but in the 2019 versus the 1989 version. And this was not an easy pick for me. I like both cats almost just as equally, but that 2019 one, guys, was just, for me, personally, a really perfect creepy cat. What's new but yet? Okay, so overall, I vote OG. Okay, so Crystal voted for the original. I don't blame her. Great cat. But we have 3 votes for the 2019 version, so we're going to go ahead and give the 2019 version the overall vote on Church. But that was tough. That was not an easy one. So yeah, Church won that 3-1. So, but it was, to me, it's still close. So, bam. So we got 2-1 right now. 2 for 1989, 1 for 2019. This is getting pretty fucking good. Let me tell you right now. All right, let's give it a few seconds. The plot thickens. Yes, the plot thickens. So we got 5 viewers. Hello, guys. All right, so if you guys are just jumping on in here right now, 2 votes for 1989, 1 vote for the 2019. So let's go ahead and jump into our next battle. And this one is going to be very interesting, you guys. This one's not going to be what you might think. So the next battle is between the dead Creed child. So basically, in the original one, Gage is the one who gets killed by the truck, and in the remake, it is Ellie who is killed by the truck. So I didn't really want to put Gage up against Gage and Ellie up against Ellie because in either one, I mean, Ellie and Ellie would have made more sense, but Gage in the remake didn't have much to do with the story. So I'm gonna go ahead and put dead Gage up with dead Ellie. So let's see who wins this one. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm going to say both of these are really good. I actually thought Ellie Creed in the remake did a very good job at being unsettling and creepy. Gage can be the same thing can be said with Gage though. Gage, is probably more memorable in a sense, but the worst thing the OG did, drop dead rat in the bath. Yeah, that's the worst thing. That's the creepiest thing he did. Gage was perfection. A creepy, laughing, demonic kid, the biggest of Chef's Kiss. Yeah, dude, Gage is not going to be easy to beat for Ellie. Ellie was not bad at all. She had creepy-ass moments. I mean, going to Judd's house, pretending to be his wife. I mean, creepy shit. But the original, it was the fact that this little child, even younger than Ellie in the remake, was killed, and they came back and started murdering people is just beyond insane. And the shit he pulled on people was horrifying. So yeah, that's really tough. That's a really tough one. Now I want to play with you. Oh god, Gage versus Ellie from the remake. Okay, I'm gonna go with Gage personally. I think Gage maybe has the overall better character than the remake of Ellie. The Ellie from the remake was not bad at all, actually. I actually would say she was really good. But compared to Gage, who was just more memorable and more insanely unsettling because of his age, I think overall has the has the edge over Ellie. The laugh, the giggle, it was perfect. It was a great child performance. Yeah. The performance by the kid who played Gage, so incredible, but the same could be said for the girl in the new one. That's right. It could be. It could be. It says we have 6 people watching now. Hey guys, how you doing? No fair, daddy. No fair. Yeah, and then he falls over dead. So I'm going to go ahead. And if you guys are just jumping on in here, I'm going to let you know that the 1989 version is points, and the 2019 remake has 1 point. The 2019 remake got 1 point because of the battle between churches. Church of the Cat for the 2019 version won. The 2 for 1989 was of ZELDA and PASCOW, who won for the 1989 version. Ellie Creed performance was strong, but the fact that Gage was so small, tiny, and he was just a fucking insane with a blade. Chucky wishes he was Gaga and fucking yeah. I don't blame you. Gage probably wins this battle. Gage was haunting the innocence perverted in the way just set it apart. Yeah, yeah. I'd probably go ahead and say Gage wins. I'm gonna go ahead and vote for Gage myself, but Ellie is still a damn good character. So like, I'm gonna go ahead and root for Gage. But I don't blame people for rooting for Ellie, so. Who do you guys vote for? Who do you guys vote for? I think I can already tell it's going to be Gage, but I'm still curious. Yeah, it would have been just weird though to put the old Gage with the new Gage. I mean, demonic baby Gage for the win. They both have their strengths, but toe to toe, Gage hands down. Okay, so that's 3 for Gage. That's 3 for Gage. So I would say Gage Creed wins the battle between dead Creed children. So I'm going to go ahead and mark Gage as the winner of this little battle. So, and Adam votes for Gage too. So bar none, 4-0, 4-0. Gage wins. The 1989 version wins. Now has 3 points. All right, 3 points for the 1989 version. All right, so that one was pretty interesting. All right, so that's 3 for the 1989 and 1 for the 2019 version of Pet Sematary. Gauged to the Death. Okay, the next one is another one of those ones that's going to be difficult for me, but I already know my answer, but it's going to be a difficult pick. All right, so let's go ahead and dive into the next cat verses, and the next verses is going to be, bam, Judd versus Judd. Okay, this is tough. This one, I'm going to tell you right now, I'm going to vote for Fred. I'm going to vote for the 1989 version because I feel like that guy, he gave Judd his character. That is Judd, Crandall in my opinion, Crandall in my opinion. But I gotta say, the 2019 version is the best part of that remake. John Lithgow, I was not looking forward to a Pet Sematary remake until I seen that they casted John Lithgow as Judd. I was like, that is perfect casting. If you had to replace Fred Gwynne as Judd, you just picked perfectly. John Lithgow was perfect as Judd. But in my opinion, and this is easy for me to answer, but hard for me to answer, I'm going to go ahead and say Fred is my pick for Judd. But because he just impersonates the perfect grandpa figure, that guy you can always trust. Not saying John didn't do the same, but I would say that he may have had it better with Fred's performance. I refuse to vote. It's tough, I know. Yeah, this is a tough one. This is the toughest one, probably, for me. I would say I'm going to give it to Fred. The power of veto. I know, right? I'm gonna give it to Fred because the original one, just to me, he's like, it's almost kind of like Robert Englund with Freddy Krueger. You know, like there's like certain people you can't see not replacing this certain character, and Fred for Judd was like perfect. It's perfection as the character. Like you could not have casted that character any better. But then you pull John Lithgow out of the hat, and you're like, oh, that is the perfect replacement for Fred. And I'm like, these two are just so good. It's literally, guys, it's like right here, neck to neck. It's tough. And I'm going to give it to Fred myself, but I understand why you guys might have a hard time giving it to Fred over John. John's Lithgow was just, oh man. Yeah, Fred Gwynne is a legend and gives such a memorable performance, but John Lithgow is a superb actor. Yeah, they're both, yeah. This one's hard. This is the hardest one, I think. Yeah, easily. For originally, my heart's telling me Fred, but I hope the people acknowledging John Lithgow's serious acting chops. I agree. If you're going to take anything from this comparison, just if you go into, if I wouldn't have been mad at all if someone said John Lithgow. I really wouldn't, because John Lithgow did a great job as Judd. They're both awesome performances. But to me, most memorable, I'm going to say Fred's performance as Judd. They're both perfection, and John did an incredible job. They're different and bring different things to the roles. Fred is a legend, and I will not vote. Like, I don't blame you for not voting. So it's up to you two, Adam and Saza and whoever else is watching, to vote for this one. This is tough. I'm going to give it to Fred, though, so that's one vote for Fred. And fun fact, Fred Gwynne passed away on July 2nd. Not my actual birthday, but it is the day I was born, so... It's neck and neck. Yeah, Adam, it's pretty close. I mean, we could probably tie it, to be honest, but preferably it's easier just to come up with like one vote. We could probably tie it though. I could probably give them both a point because this is tough, but I'm voting Fred too, but damn, John's a close second. Yeah. So that's 2 votes for Fred. So what do you have to say, Adam? Who would you vote for? Fred by a hair. Herman Munster lives forever in the earlier shows, so fantastic. I agree. So we're going to go ahead and give it to Fred. He won, but by barely. So if you're going to take anything from this, just take away that if you haven't seen the new 2019 remake, watch it for John Lithgow specifically. I think his performance is something to be looked at. For sure. So that's 4 points for the 1989 version of Pet Sematary. That's 1 for the 2019 remake. So on the bright side, that was the hardest one, and that one's out of the way. But that was still hard. I understand why there might have been some people really not wanting to vote on that one, and I don't blame you. Yeah, that's tough. Okay, the next one up is bam, Rachel versus Rachel Creed. So, okay. These two I could probably say are very passable. Both of them are very decent for what they have to be given. And this is also kind of a neck and neck one where I'm not really they're both good performances. They're not really, you know, John Lithgow is a force of nature as an actor, comedy actor, and I tell you he's really underestimated by the mainstream. I agree. These wives just so hateable. There's a lot to hate about the character of Rachel Creed. Um, the performance in the original one is very realistic. I mean, the movie itself tackles a lot of questions no one really wants to answer. I overall think the original one does it better, but I would say that the remake of Rachel is also very decent. I would say when at that scene where Ellie walks up to her and she knows her daughter's dead is one of the most heart-wrenching scenes of that entire remake, and it's like one of those gut punch moments. It's like that would be horrible to deal with as a mom, and she really captures that well. Um, the original one has her moments really good. She's not really nobody that really it her performance is not the most memorable part of the entire original Pet Sematary movie. I'm picking Elizabeth. Oh, look at that. One for the remake so far. They are neglecting to dismissive parents and the actions they take to kill my spirit. Yeah. Denise's hair annoys me too much in the original. Denise is so fun in The Walking Dead, though. I did not know Denise was in The Walking Dead. That's interesting. But, okay, so we have one vote for Elizabeth. Very interesting. Crystal votes for Elizabeth, too. Oh, there's 2 votes for Elizabeth. I was actually going to vote for Elizabeth myself. So I would say that Elizabeth for the remake wins this round. Denise, it's passable. The performance itself is very passable. She has her moments where she really shines. Her performance where I see Gage's body gets knocked off the pedestal, and like you see the arm come out and everything, and her scream and reaction to that by turning around and hugging her mom, very powerful shit. But yeah, I would say the performance in the remake was actually very much handled better. So I would say, yeah, Elizabeth for the win. So that's another point for the remake. How awesome! So that's 4-2. So wow, the remake's doing a little bit better than I thought it would. So there's 2 points for the remake. When it comes to Rachel, the remake version is just better. So, bam. Now if you guys can guess the next one, we're going to go ahead and jump into it. And this is the last character versus character battle. So let's do it. Louis Creed versus Louis Creed. Okay. For me, I think it's obvious what I would pick. I'd pick Dale's performance. The original Creed, Louis. I almost said Louis because of Interview with the Vampire, but Louis in the original one, I think, was just better. Jason Clarke was not bad at all in the remake. I actually think he was really damn good in the remake. But I think Dale in the original one just captured. No, they're about pretty damn good. Each of them are pretty damn good, actually. See, the parents in each of these movies are very passable in their own sense. I would say that they are the most difficult ones to kind of give. It's not easy. I thought Dale's performance, though, in the original one was, his reaction to Gage dying, I thought was powerful shit. Could you imagine tripping at the last second before your kid gets hit by a truck right in front of you? I mean, haunting shit. Dale overplayed some of the big scenes for me. He did. He overplayed quite a bit. There's no doubt in denying that. This is tough. This is another tough one. It's you got to sit back and just think about it. I don't know. They're pretty close. The new dad was so unrelatable for me, though. Dale was so tormented and lost by it all. He did the only thing he could do. Yeah, well, there's another good point. The new one was very, I don't want to say Hollywood written, but Dale's reaction to Gage dying was the best scene. His performance, though, I agree with Jordan there. Yeah, that moment I could just, that in the moment when he's at the funeral with Gage and he is breaking down while the dad's literally cussing him out. That's a good fucking performance. He literally looked like he was just destroyed over that. So, I mean, I'm going to give it to Dale by a smidgen, but Jason did not do a bad job at all. So we got 1 vote for Jason Clarke by Saza. We got 2 votes for Dale. Adam, what do you think? Who would you say wins this vote? I'm hoping we at some point get more patrons and stuff so we can have a bigger versus battle next time. I think the next one I'm going to be doing is actually for Stephen King's It. All right, so that's another point for Dale. So we got 1 vote for Jason Clarke and 3 votes for Dale. I'd say Dale wins this battle overall. So we're gonna go ahead and give that to Dale, but it was close. Maybe I'm biased because I've seen Jason in other movies and loved his performance style. If y'all haven't, please watch The Devil All the Time. All right, well, thank you for that suggestion, Saza. No, I look, it's okay. That Jason did a really good job. I understand why someone would give him the point. So there we go. There was 5. Now we have 5 to 1, 2 points. 5 to 2 points. 5 for the 1989 version and 2 for the 2019 remake. All right, so that is the last of the character versus battles. So the next one we're going to do is bam. The directors. The directors of both of these movies. This is going to be interesting. I know who's probably going to win, but let's talk about this for a few minutes. We got Mary Lambert, who did a phenomenal job with the original 1989 version, and then we got Kevin Kolsch and Dennis Widmeyer. So here's the thing. When you pick 2 directors to direct a movie, there's going to be a lot of back and forth creative decisions that are going to be made. And there's going to be a lot of people not agreeing with each other. So I could tell by watching the 2019 version that there might have been some creative differences between the 2. After figuring out that there were 2 directors, I could probably see where some problems could have occurred. I'm going to go ahead and make it as easy for me and just say Mary Lambert deserves this. And I can only say, and the only reason why I say Mary Lambert deserves this win for me personally is because the movie, the original Pet Sematary, there's really no other movie like it. It's one of the scariest movies I've ever seen. And a lot of that has to do with the direction and the style that she decided to go with for the original. She made it very claustrophobic in a sense that there was nothing really happy ever going on. Not saying the new one didn't do that, but the new one had more of a very modern horror movie kind of tropey feel to it. It felt like an everyday horror film. But the original Pet Sematary, I would say, has more of its own unique flavor and own unique style compared to that 2019 remake, is what I would say. But I do understand why there are people who might pick the 2019 version direction-wise. I would say that the original one just had a more unsettling and just atmosphere. The atmosphere in the original one is almost leaking off the screen. It's that powerful. Kevin's work to the right, A Lost Voyage of So Incredible, and overall movie shows that. Yeah, for sure. I feel like the work that Mary put into the original one is just way more memorable, and the way she directed these scenes, the close-ups of like Zelda's face to the close-ups of church, the horrors of the brutality of people getting killed, I think is just way more horrifying. The idea of death in the original one was just way more scary than than death in the remake. When people died in the original one, it was almost like it was haunting. Mary's version plays on your emotions in a way that lingers and haunts you through imagery and sound. I agree with that, Crystal. I agree. She does a fantastic job with just having the atmosphere leak off the fucking screen and into your living room in your house. It makes you very, very unsettled, and I think it really just sticks with you more than the remake does. So I'm gonna go ahead and give it to Mary overall. I think her style is just eerie. It's eerie as fuck. Mary Lambert's vision of the original was perfect, in my opinion. The movie looked stunning and saturated in a natural color and made you feel really on edge, like you were abandoned out in the country. Exactly. Everything about the movie was a character. Almost everything about the movie Pet Sematary, the original, was a character. The place beyond the Pet Cemetery, the Indian burial ground. And I will say one of the things that they added with the new one that I actually really liked was the fact that it wasn't just an Indian burial ground, but there was an idea that the thing out in those woods was actually the Wendigo, a spirit who lives in the woods and was tormenting dead souls that would be buried out there. I thought that was very interesting. And I liked that addition. I actually thought that was very neat. So I mean, the newer one in some aspects showed off the supernatural vibe a little bit in some unique ways, but I would say that the supernatural vibe in the original was just off the charts. But I did like the addition of the Wendigo idea for that remake. I thought that was very interesting. A different way to take it for sure. So I'm gonna give it to Mary on this one, but I will acknowledge that the remake was above average for sure. You often see the difference between the sexes in the director's chair. Not to be generalizing, just something I've noticed across genres. Yeah, yeah, I can understand and see that. I just feel like the remake in some aspects was very Hollywood-esque. Like that's exactly how, jump scares, I mean, they would go certain ways, they wouldn't build on the suspense, and sometimes they did, but most of the time they wouldn't. The 2019 version seemed quite dark, gothic, slightly comic-like in design. I enjoy the style, but this story, we needed a good old American vibe to it for the horror to be more effective. I agree. So I'm going to give it to Mary Lambert, who I think just overall made the movie, the property of Pet Sematary, so iconic. So I would give it to Mary for myself. The Wendigo was responsible for Gage's death. Yeah. Oh, do you mean in like the original? Because I honestly I don't remember much about hearing about a Wendigo in the original. But if that's the case, that's very interesting. I actually did I missed that. I knew that the place he referred to it as the place actually knew Gage was going to die, but I didn't know the Wendigo. I didn't know the Wendigo was actually mentioned. So I'm gonna give it to Mary. So that's one for Mary. What do you guys vote on? Who would you give it to direction wise? This is overall not just for the direction, but it's also for the story and the way it was handled, I guess, too. And one of the things I will say about this, a Winnebago Lone Star. So we're about to head to the last verses between these movies. So we will decide the winner after this. I think it's obvious who the winner is, but like we're still gonna have this conversation. But I'm gonna give it to Mary, guys. Who are you gonna give it to? Mary, quite contrary, gets my vote. Yeah, I figured Mary was gonna win. Crystal says Kevin. Ooh, that is very interesting. All right, so the original one wears by a sliver. So that is 7-2 for the 1989 remake against the 2019. Nope, the 1989 versus the 2019 remake. Okay, so now that's done. We're about to move on to the final verses, which is obviously movie versus movie. Which one is the better one? So, okay. I'm gonna go ahead and say the original one's a better movie because overall, it's more memorable, and memorability and rewatchability is important to me. And I would say the original is just more memorable and rewatchable. I would say the atmosphere to the original one is some of the most scariest filmmaking and scariest shit I've seen on screen in general that I've ever seen in my life. So for me, this ain't gonna take too long, but I'm gonna go ahead and say the original Pet Sematary wins by a landslide. Not saying the remake didn't have awesome aspects. The cat church, some characters I thought were handled decently well. John Lithgow, the addition of John Lithgow really does help the edge and help the moments. You know, the scene where John Lithgow is confronting Ellie in his house and Ellie turns to his wife, and his reaction was just so creepy and so heartbreaking. But then the fact it's followed up by a very underwhelming death for his character. I thought John's death or Judd's death in the remake was so underwhelming compared to what they did in the original, where he gets the back of his ankle cut and then he gets his mouth bit off, like he gets his mouth slit. I thought that it was so underwhelming, and you don't even see it happen on screen. You just hear him like yelling and shit. So, I mean, there's so much about the remake that is so underwhelming compared to the original, which handled some things in such a very unique way that no one's ever seen at the time. The original is just too stupendous. The newer movie fell short. It unfortunately did fall short, in my opinion, too. I know they were trying to do something unique with like a cult of kids who were burying their pets out in the pet cemetery and shit, but it wasn't necessary. Like the kids with the masks and shit, animal masks, they were treating it like a fucking cult. It was like, as creepy as that was, it wasn't necessary in the slightest. In all reality, in my opinion, I thought, it just wasn't necessary. It was a different take for sure, but why? Because people like to see creepy kids. And it's like, all right, well, yeah, 1989, my final answer. I don't blame you. 1989 for me too. It's just the better movie. It's just better directed, better characters, more memorable characters. Very unhingeable, very unrelaxing questions that have to be answered in that original one that were not really answered with that much of gravitas to it as the original one was. These questions that you had to answer, these unsettling topics you had to, get thrown into, is just so overwhelming and so atmospheric. I don't know how you could beat it. I gotta say though, the remake for the 2019's poster is fucking phenomenal. I love that poster. I mean, I could go down a list of reasons why the 1989 version is more superior, but I don't really need to. These are movies that I can say that you should check them both out, watch them for yourselves, and be the debate, and have that. And you really have to decide which one you prefer. I mean, there's probably people out there who prefer the remake over the original, and I don't blame them. I'm not going to argue with that. Granted, it's tough to compete with the original and so many years later, and we are some diehard fans, Star Wars, Trek people. It's no in between, really. The original set the bar for creepy, contorted siblings, angel-faced demon babies, scratch-happy cats, and expert in bringing real human parental fears to the forefront and forcing you to experience it. That's right. It really had the edge over the remake, unfortunately. Overall, I mean, let's say that this 2019 remake came out the same year as the 1990 or 89 version. Would it have had the same effect? I don't know. Honestly, it's tough to say. I don't think it would have. And one of the biggest things that I would say that the 2019 one did very wrong was their marketing. The marketing for the movie sucked ass. I mean, in the remake's trailer, they showed Ellie die in the trailer, which if you were a big fan of Pet Sematary and you did not know that was going to happen, the movie might have hit more better. But the fact that they spoiled it in the trailers was just so horrible. Because if I was in the theaters watching the 2019 version for the first time and didn't know Ellie was going to die, but I was thinking Gage was going to die, because like in the original one, Gage dies. But if I was sitting there thinking that Gage is going to die, then Ellie dies, my jaw would have dropped. But they spoiled it, so it really did not have that hit on me. Spoiler alerts aplenty. Yeah, legendary spoiler alerts are... Yeah. So I think it's obvious that the original one's going to beat out the remake overall, but it's still very interesting and fun to acknowledge some of the things with the remake that not a lot of people acknowledge. I will acknowledge that Church is better in the remake, in my opinion. I would say that the cat is just more evil and smart. I would say that the performances are really damn decent, really good. For the most part, John Lithgow is a great addition. The performance by the young girl, by Ellie, is terrifying. The fact that she's asking her own dad, am I dead? Did you bring me back? Am I dead? And it's just so creepy and so unsettling. There are really good moments in this remake, but they did not... It feels like a typical horror film of like today's time. And it's unfortunate because if it was its own unique thing and focused on being unique, it would have stood out more. John Lithgow was incredible, but his death was lackluster. I agree, Crystal. I agree 100%. I was so underwhelmed by that death. Are we going to vote on a song, Ramones, or Starcrawler? You know what? Yes, we will. This is a perfect time to do that. Which one did you like more, the Starcrawler or Ramones? I like them both just almost as equally. I thought the Starcrawler one was fucking great. The new one was so cookie cutter. Unfortunately, yes, that's a good way to put it, Crystal. Cookie cutter movie compared to the original, yeah. It needed to do more of its own thing, you know? And it's unforgivable, the underwhelming versions of ZELDA and PASCOW, who were so beloved in the original ones and so feared in the original ones that they just got thrown under the bus completely. I mean, some of the shit's unforgivable. So yeah, I'm feeling the original one. I think everybody here can agree with me when the original one is probably the more superior film. I would say the soundtracks for both of them are very good. I like both of the soundtracks. But yeah, you guys can vote on that if you want. Maybe we'll give an extra point. Which one did you like more? But first, vote on what's your favorite movie. Did you like the original or did you like the remake? The dated look of the original. Yes, grief, death, loss. It's just a horrible movie, but in a great way. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and give the point to 1989. I think it's obvious people are going to vote for that one, so I think that's just obvious. So which is the better song? This is the last point. Which is the better song made by the Ramones, or would you say Starcrawler? Go ahead and vote right now. Ramones, of course. Yeah, that's a tough one to beat. Ramones is tough. I'm gonna give it to Ramones by a sliver. I think the remake's version of Pet Sematary was actually really well done, but I'm gonna give it to the Ramones too. So this is just a bonus point. Ramones. Okay, that's 3 for the Ramones, so that would be the 1989 version. All right, so that is it, guys. That is the versus battle between the 1989 version of Pet Sematary and the 2019 remake. And I would say it's quite obvious who won. We have 9-2. So 1989 version of Pet Sematary destroyed, landslide the 2019 version. So guys, that is it for this live stream. I hope you guys had a lot of fun. I really enjoyed myself. I hope you guys have a fan-fucking-tastic day. I might be on later to do a YouTube live stream. I'm not sure, but I know this is just for Patreon exclusive, so you guys will be able to watch this whenever you guys want if you're bored. Yeah, it's Ramones, right? So guys, as always, like, subscribe, share the content. You can't share this one because, Patreon only. But I hope you guys have a fan-fucking-tastic day. So here we go. I will catch you guys in the next live stream. I think the next one we're going to be doing a versus for is Pennywise, the It films. So I will give you guys a date when that is to come. So here we go. Take care, guys.